What's up, everyone? Vincent Janito here, rewinding the Dawn of War 3 Warhammer 40k reveal trailer. Very excited. One of my favorite PC games of all time is the Dawn of War series, Dawn of War 1 and 2, as different as they were. And I already want to back this up just a little bit because there's something kind of important here, I think, about this opening, about the opening quote. Because I think it references something that there's a hint here, I feel, to what maybe the story might be focusing on. So there's a quote here from Inquisitor Shivak, and if you read the fiction at all, you know that Inquisitor Shivak is known as kind of an extremist. He is obsessed with the idea that the Tyranid threat is the greatest threat that the Imperium of Man could possibly face, and that at all costs it has to be met. And in particular, what he thinks is, you know what, let's stop right here real quick. We'll get back to Shivak in a second. But here, you know, not surprising, we can see the insignia of the Blood Ravens on the side of this fallen Space Marine. Again, not surprising at all. The Blood Ravens are the faction of Space Marines that were created by Relic for this series and then canonized by Games Workshop, so of course they're going to stick with them. But yeah, getting back to Shivak, he believed that the only way to face the Tyranid threat properly was to resurrect this guy. Here, what we have is a statue of what is certainly the Emperor of mankind. You can tell by he's often been depicted with that big red gem in the middle of his armor, the birds coming off of his shoulder pads, and then of course behind his head the iron halo, which is both symbolic to the Imperium of Man, and also a strong gravitational protection field from all forms of harm. So this is a statue of the Emperor, and it would seem that this chapter of this group of Blood Ravens is kneeling to worship him, and this is important because you know, in this timeline where we are right now, the Emperor in terms of his corporeal form, he's dead. He's just kind of been being kept alive by the Golden Throne. But Shivak believed that he needed to be resurrected and that he would need to physically be present to lead the Imperium of Man against the Tyranids. So these are not Tyranids. In fact, we don't see Tyranids anywhere in this trailer. But you can hear the faint wail of a warg, and that's of course the old nemesis of the Imperium of Man, the orcs. So you can see so far we're sticking kind of with the mainline races that you see throughout the Dawn of War series. Now, this scene is important to me. What we just saw there, we see some orcs. They obviously succeeded in in this ambush, but this savaging of the bodies of the Space Marines is important because I feel like we don't usually see the Space Marines getting messed up or losing. This is important. We'll get to this in a second. They're usually seen as like imposing and the most powerful, and they're kind of the heroes of the series. But here we see them just getting ambushed, taken advantage of, and ravaged. And I hope that's thematically that's a sign of things to come. I want to see them be more fallible, more vulnerable, and less of heroes than the Dawn of War games have typically portrayed them. So of course this now completes the Trinity, as it would be. This is a scalp of an Eldar being held up by a grot here. And, of course, we see a second later. Here we go. We see the Eldar standing stoically in this what looks like a wraithbone structure of some kind. And these, of course, are the infamous melee specialist Eldar troops, the Howling Banshees. It's not an Eldar army without them. And here's a grot that's about to have a bad day. Oh, caught that one in the face. So here you see a bunch of tactical Marines rushing in head first. This one, a very brave tactical Marine, trying to take on a Death Dread, an Orc Death Dread, with a chainsaw. That's not going to work out for him, as you can probably imagine. And, of course, this grot just adding insult to injury, smacking him in the face while he gets cut in half. Grisly stuff. Again, this is not the kind of thing we usually see. I mean, yes, we've seen Space Marines die, but they're always kind of the favored children of Warhammer 40k, and we always see them overcoming at all costs. And they don't really do a lot in this trailer. They spend a lot of time getting tricked, ambushed, and ravaged, and that's kind of an interesting take here. It makes the other races seem a little more imposing. Speaking of imposing, this is a big moment for the trailer. So this Death Dread, note about this Death Dread. It's quite a bit bigger. It's hard to tell the scale in a CG trailer, but they're quite a bit bigger than the mechs that you've seen in other Dawn of War strategy games. So right here is already an indication that we're going to see some larger units. But as large as this Death Dread is compared to what we've seen in previous games, it's nothing compared to what we were about to see. Just swatted like a fly. Oh, look at that shot. I got chills the first time I saw it. I'm getting chills now. So this is not what you think it is, perhaps. So when I first saw it, again, because it's hard to tell the scale, I thought maybe this was a Wraith Lord. Okay? With armor made of Wraith bone. Yeah, these are very imposing, ancient, and valuable, and machines of destruction for the Eldar race, same race of those the scalped unit before that you saw that belonged to the Howling Banshee. This is part of the Eldar army as well, but as huge as they are, it's hard to tell the scale of them. I thought this was a Wraith Lord until, and this is also very exciting and probably the most revelatory thing about this trailer, what we're about to see. He gets staggered from behind, and that crashing through this building, that is an Iron Knight. Okay? Not a Dreadnought. Okay? That is an Iron Knight. Iron Knights are a couple of times larger than a Dreadnought. So if indeed what we just saw was a Wraith Lord, this thing would be towering over it. Now to be clear, some people are already saying, oh my god, look, this confirms Titans are in the game. This does not necessarily confirm that Titans are in the game. Iron Knights are quite large. They're much larger than Dreadnoughts, and certainly any other unit that we've seen in any of the 40k strategy games, but important to note, they are still smaller than even the smallest class of actual Titans. From the Space Marine Codex. So keep in mind, they are not quite Titan size, but they are massive, many times bigger than any unit we've seen in the games to this point. And so that, of course, means if these are Iron Knights and they can get cleaved in half like they just did, but they can also impale this thing. Look, you see here, you see the comparative size of the two. They're both about the same size. So if that was a Wraith Lord, this Iron Knight would be towering over it. So in fact, that is not a Wraith Lord. That is a Wraith Knight. Which honestly stands at least double to triple the height of a Wraith Lord. So in line with kind of the promises that they've already made in the early press release, it looks like Warhammer 40k Dawn of War 3 is going to be a game of scale. It's not going to be as tight as it's not going to be as much about small groups of units and micromanaged tactics. It looks like it's going to be a little bit more, at least like the original Dawn of War, where it focuses on large, big, epic battles. And then you see now the wreckage of these two behemoths coming down on this one tactical marine, and he's certainly going to die. But of course, being a space marine, death is not a thing that he fears. It is death in battle is a thing that is the highest honor. And just what carnage here. And it's worth noting that I don't know. Oh, it's such a great moment. I love the music here. It really sets the mood. But what I don't quite know and understand just yet, and maybe you folks out there watching can provide some input in the comments, is this here at the end of the trailer, we return to this pit. Through all this smog and maybe clouds, it seems like all these bodies are falling. Now, I don't know if this is just a symbolic image to just meant for impact, or if it's pulled directly out of some kind of a prophecy from the voluminous amounts of lore and backstory there are in the 40k universe. but I feel like there's got to be a purpose. There's got to be a reason why they open with this image and they close with this image. I mean, all these corpses that are falling, they're like grains of sand. There's thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of corpses of all different races falling into this pit, and I feel like that's got to be for some reason. Now, whether or not that's related to something involving the Tyranids, as I said earlier, getting back to Shivak's prophecy about the Tyranids being the great darkness that mankind would have to face. Or if this is a reference to something else, because the Tyranids are notably absent from this trailer, and so is Chaos. That's for it's ever been a big part of these stories. So it's possible that this is some kind of a Chaos-related summoning pit. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but I'd love to hear your theories and your ideas. So please, by all means, let me know in the comments below if you have any idea what that really is. But yeah, that's it for the major points of the Dawn of War 3 trailer. Very exciting. I'm a little disappointed just that we didn't get... I'm just only slightly disappointed that there's not going to be any... I don't see any Tau or Necron or any hints of some of the other races or the Imperial Guard. There's a lot of races in the 40k universe I would have loved to see here, but... I'll take what I can get for now. Just the fact that Dawn of War 3 is in the world, I'm happy enough. So I hope you guys are as excited about Dawn of War 3 as I am. If you have any more theories about it, please sound off in the comments below. And for more on Warhammer 40k Dawn of War 3, keep it right here on IGN.